Hello, my name is Seun Odiase, medical doctor based in Lagos. Grew up in Lagos also. I'm here today to talk about sickle cell and my partner, living with people, taking care of people with sickle cell also. Where do I start from? A little about me. Seun Odiase was born in Lagos, raised, I schooled in Festac, had my university education partially in Lagos. Then I schooled in Igbenedion University where I studied medicine. When I was done my schooling at the tertiary level, I had my internship at Loop. I think that was why I now had my first exposure with the hematology and oncology department, and I had to work with doctors in the same field of that had to take care of patients with blood disorders. And my exposure, that's why I initially had the first exposure with people living with sickle cell, and I saw what they were going through, and I immediately just got the passion to care for people with sickle cell. So when I'm not working, what I do is I just spend a lot of time browsing, searching the internet, doing a lot of research, hang out with friends, watch a lot of movies, binge watch your movies actually. Then I go out. Then sometimes I just want to stay indoors and think of business basically. Then after that, I also volunteer for Warrior Story Sickle Cell Clinic, where we partake in different activities. We think of different ways to bring healthcare closer to people and see how we can take it beyond Lagos, basically. Because awareness for almost every sector of healthcare in Nigeria is poor, and especially with sickle cell, where there's a stigma. And also, I think healthcare professionals should actually be involved in this process. Also, for aside from that, we have a committee of friends where we come together and we talk about issues that are going to change, basically healthcare, the face of healthcare in Nigeria in a large scale. But the problem is we usually don't have much support from the government and even the private individuals to first thinking of money before the vision itself. Um, Also, in terms of how do I put it now, non-medical life. I try not to talk about medical life because I know a lot of people think it's boring. So, non-medical life, apart from business, I'm also into IT. I do websites. I work for Talamos Healthcare Nigeria, where we have a mobile application that brings healthcare closer to patients, basically laboratories, pharmacies, and everybody. So it's an interesting job. It's a slight deviation from the actual clinical work, but I found satisfaction in actually technology and healthcare and trying to bridge the gap in it. Yeah, I think that's a summary of me, basically. My name is Seun Odiase, and I love someone living with
I
sickle
am
cell.
not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, cause we don't want your broken parts.
Oh, sickle cell disease is it's a blood disorder that has to do with an abnormality in the hemoglobin of an individual, where one individual inherits an S, and another one at least one S gene from each patient. Sickle cell is prevalent in people of African descent, majorly Mediterranean and Middle East. Sickle cell is also a stigma. It has a very large misconception, basically, and people don't really understand what sickle cell is about and have a lot of misconceptions about it. Hence, the reason why there's a lot of depression and you have a lot of complications surrounding sickle cell. But sickle cell is more than the disease. Sickle cell is more of the disease and the mentality surrounding it, basically. I found out when we first met. I met her during a business meeting, and she came to meet me on a business product, and we spoke about sickle cell. Somehow, sickle cell came up, and I said, "Oh, I'm very interested in volunteering and all that." And from there, we just kicked it off basically. When I found out, then we're obviously you don't just date from the first day. So we were friends. I understood how she handled her health basically. I understood how she also saw herself as a sickle cell patient, and then or the sickle cell warrior. And then she had a lot of, yeah, she knew a lot about sickle cell, but a lot of people had this stigma, and she had this issue with basically coming out. So I think sickle cell was basically restricting her from achieving a lot of things and goals that she had. But with time, we started working together on projects, we started doing business together, we started hanging out, and from there we found a way to actually work with sickle cell, make sickle cell actually work for us, where we can decide to embark on any project, and then she realized that she can basically do anything with or without sickle cell. Sickle cell shouldn't limit anybody from achieving your dreams. The major thing where I told her wasn't about medications. It was majorly about having a positive mindset. So once you have a positive mindset, you can basically, it's actually natural, even medically, it boosts your immunity once you have a positive mindset. And it actually showed on her health, and she had lesser crisis. Even when she's having crisis, it's mild. It's not as much as it used to be. And she saw the difference. And you spoke about drinking water, medications, and attending clinics. I know I'm her personal doctor, but when I know, I don't play Superman. When I know it's way beyond, we take her to the hospital, and basically we're managing it together. So it's now it seems very easy, basically. Also, I had a sibling, my oldest brother, who had sickle cell. He basically wasn't much on his routine medications. He saw sickle cell as a death trap, basically. He saw sickle cell as something that was holding him back, and even family members helped him to think sickle cell was something, don't carry water, don't do this stressful work, don't do that, don't walk for long distances. So I think I realized at an early onset, but when it really became vivid to me was when my brother died, and he died at the age of 35. And the normal thought was, oh, after 21, you're fine. And the truth is this, you have to take care of yourself, basically. So I realized the do's and don'ts and how much impact that sickle cell can take on one's mentality and productivity, basically. So as an early onset. Sickle cell is not a death sentence. Sickle cell is not a reason to be depressed. Sickle cell is not a reason to say you cannot work. Sickle cell is not a reason to say that, oh, I can't achieve my goals. There are a lot of misconceptions, but the major thing is it's not something to bring you down, basically. There are people that have had sickle cell and have done a lot of wonderful things. I think it's the approach to the condition, basically, that determines what the person can do in life. Also, in terms of on the medical side, also sickle cell, there are treatment options. Basically, I think the problem is awareness and people not knowing what to do at the right time, when to go to the hospital, when to actually take painkillers, when to go for IV fluids, blood transfusions, and all that, or even the option of going for surgery. So there's a lot of awareness that people don't know about, and even medical professionals too, so aside from the patients. But it's something that once you understand what it's all about, it's easy to go along with sickle cell. Hmm. The greatest challenge, I think we had, there was a communication gap here. So when the person you care for tells you that, oh, they want painkillers, and you're thinking on one side that, okay, maybe this is an addiction or it's tolerance, or yeah, you think it's actually a drug problem, and you now start looking at your partner like she's a drug addict. And yeah, so you have to think about it. But then you now realize the person is in pain, and you then explore that option. So I try to understand what she's going through. I also say, okay, explain it to me. Forget that this is Dr. Seun, this is your friend. Tell me how you really feel. So I got to understand. So I use that to understand what other people were going through, basically, for sickle cell. Greatest inspiration was seeing that with a positive mindset, anything can be done. And I've actually seen it firsthand amongst different warriors. And so that inspires me that, oh, apart from sickle cell, even other diseases where you have people that have other conditions that maybe weighs them down. The part of inspiration is this: I can actually tell people about this disease. I can actually date somebody with sickle cell, and it's fine. People ask me, oh, how do you cope? I'm not coping. I'm doing fine. I'm enjoying myself. So that's it.
I am not a stranger.
Well, they have their own independence. Okay. So let me see now. How do I put it? So it's a two-way thing. There's one side where I'm very caring and nice. There's another side where I'm very firm, and you have to know how to balance both sides. Sometimes it seems like I'm being very wicked, but I call it tough love. So I could be like, have you had your water today? I'm like, and I'm not really like, why haven't you had your water today? And something as simple as water can cause serious arguments. So then also for things that you need to understand when when your partner is actually stressed, and you know that okay, you can do this. You need to encourage. It's not like, oh, why can't you just do this? It's as simple as and you need to understand that sometimes there are tough days when your friend is actually stressed. There are days when she can do basically anything and she has a lot of energy and all that. So you need to understand when to be the good guy and the bad guy, basically. And I think the balance is what is key. And you get, even I get more appreciated more when I say, okay, no, you really have to do this. And basically, she now sees the benefits of actually doing it, but also with understanding that it's not easy. You just have to encourage and always be the primary support system for your partner, basically. Wow. Okay. I think since we started dating, since we've been partners, she hasn't really spent much days because she knows what to do. Maybe because she's, well, sometimes people say because she's dating a medical doctor. No, there are times when I get scared. So when I see that it's more than, or things are worsening, or it's getting more than, so we don't wait till when she can't really move or when she's in serious pain. Once we notice the signs, we have a clinic that we check into, and immediately, because you can't know everything, so immediately we take her to the hospital, they do a checkup, and they admit her, do the basic baseline investigations, do the proper treatment, and that way things get solved because my judgment might be clouded by the way I feel for her or because I see her every day. But it's good to always have a second opinion, a second review. And basically, when she's hospitalized, I'm not happy. So most times I have to leave my work and stay with her or encourage her and say, okay, don't worry, you'll be fine. And people will be like, oh, some back then people will be like, oh, she's not feeling fine. How are you going to cope? Like, actually, she's not going to die. And I'm like, nah, she's not going to die. It's crisis. She just needs more. She probably has been under a lot of stress lately and just needs a little extra care, basically. So, that's it. Okay, stigma. I think stigma is an everyday thing in Nigerian culture. Even for being a Nigerian, there's a lot of stigma on it. So, talking of being someone with sickle cell and living in a third world country. So, for sickle cell, yeah, there's this stigma of people, sickle cell people can't do anything. Sickle cell people are lazy. Sickle cell people like taking an excuse from work even when they're not sick. People with sickle cell warriors also like to abuse medications. They love pills. They like injections and all that. Or they're not considerate and basically taking the bulk of the finances in the family or the bulk of hospital admissions too. And some other siblings even think that the sickle cell warrior is getting all the attention basically. But the stigma is what there really shouldn't be any stigma. I think with enough awareness, people can actually understand that it's just a condition. It's the same thing as people have hypertension, people have diabetes, people don't even have any physical illness, people have depression, people are suicidal. So stigma basically is an everyday thing and we'll keep trying to enlighten and encourage people about the whole thing about sickle cell basically. Oh, okay. In a way, I think I took it as a personal thing to always work on people with sickle cell. So as I said, my sibling wasn't usually regular on his medications, and he had a lot of reasons not to basically be proactive. He was basically depressed. Um, he wasn't even too into school like that. He didn't want to work. He wasn't really happy, basically. And because I've experienced what sickle cell could do to someone in terms of depression and motivation, so now when I see people with sickle cell, I try to encourage them and tell, look, I may not have sickle cell, but I've actually experienced it from my patients, from my family, from cousins, and I understand what it takes to actually have people think, oh, you have a death wish or you have a death sentence, basically. But I think encouraging people is key. I always emphasize on the mindset basically. So I think that's it. Both AS and AS. Well, it's a very dicey topic. So a lot of people say don't marry if you're AS. So there are different things. People get married and decide not to have kids. Very rare. Rare in the African and third world countries. But if you know you want two people that are AS and want to get married and you're like too proactive, you can decide to just you can send money, you can give advice, you can talk. But people living with sickle cell actually need strong support groups, people around. You don't have to give them anything. Just be around, have a listening ear and talk to them basically.